for legislation's sake, and wherever possible, keep it as simple as possible.
A good mix of a thriving nation is, yes, you need to have a larger thriving nation in terms of economy, is you have large organizations, but you also have a thriving small business and then mid-sized business providers across all categories of sectors. What do you think is the ecosystem around so that a small business can thrive in Australia? How can the ecosystem be worked upon to create more opportunities to start a business and then keep the business?
Yeah. Look, I think, as I said earlier, with our kind of policy focus, you can boil 90% of our policy down to keep it simple. And I think that really is key, because for small business owners, at the end of the day, you're expected to juggle 15 different balls and wear 20 different hats. You have to be the HR professional, you have to be the tax professional, and you have to be the retail, advertising, marketing, everything. And then you add all this confusion of, this definition applies here, this definition applies there. It just becomes too complicated. So it's easy to say, well, reduce red tape is really the core of that. But at the end of the day, I think each individual situation just comes down to, let's have right-sized legislation, not legislation for legislation's sake, and wherever possible, keep it as simple as possible.
Because sometimes the legislations are designed to counteract the exceptions in the room, as in that because there are some bad individuals or organizations who are using a part of the current legislation. So to counteract these exceptions, you push the legislation to become more harder. But the exceptions, to manage the exceptions, the average person has to follow what the exceptions should be following. So, and that model of making new legislation are coming up, what's your observation on that?
Look, as far as I think particularly interesting in the AI context, so far I think it's been promising, the approach of largely right-sized legislation that is targeting the right level of business. Look, exceptions are a natural, easy way to go in terms of making small businesses exempt from certain things. That said, that can add to the confusion again, because there's a whole education messaging piece that's needed around that, as well as, again, the different definitions of small business and knowing whether you're exempt and in which cases. I think really core to it is the small businesses, look, as much as possible, treating them with empathy and compassion and having right-sized consequences and a bit of benefit of the doubt when it comes to enforcement as well. I think that's something that the ATO, though they get a bad rap a lot, have actually been pretty good at in recent times, is looking at the intention behind the actions. So I think upcoming Payday Super is a good example. If a small business is trying to do the right thing, but they misunderstood it because it's complicated legislation, as long as they intend to fix their actions, to me there shouldn't be a consequence for that.